My friends, as we've come to the end of a liturgical year, I pose the question, have you come up with your spiritual New Year's resolution yet? Yes, next week we start a new liturgical year, and it's always good to have some resolutions to start the year off with. Maybe simply a more frequent Mass attendance, or maybe something like Bible in the Year or Catechism in the Year by Father Michael Schmidt. It's always a good way to start a new year. But let us talk about today's readings. My friends, no one wants to be forgotten. It's terrible when you go up to others to greet them and they don't remember who you are. We're crushed when that happens. If anyone could be expected to forget, it would be Jesus in the moment of this story in the Bible today. My friends, he's dying on the cross in terrible agony, has already suffered his passion, has been scourged and beaten and humiliated. He's crucified between two common criminals. And my friends, if you didn't know, the Romans did this to inflict the maximum amount of humiliation on Jesus. One of the criminals mocks and challenges him as he says, "Are you not the chosen, anointed one of God? Save yourself and us." You'd think the last thing Jesus would want is to remember this moment. However, the other criminal sees something else. He sees the sign above Jesus' head that proclaims in Latin, Hebrew, and Greek, all of the languages of the time, for the entire world to read. "This is the King of the Jews." And something moves in his heart. He recognizes that Jesus is indeed a king, the king. He recognizes that Jesus is innocent and that he's freely dying out of love for that criminal and for each one of us. And so this dying criminal asked Jesus something very simple. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He asked this with trust. In fact, this is the only time in the Gospels that someone addresses Jesus by his first name. Before this, it was always Lord or Rabbi or teacher. But no, this criminal says, Jesus. Here we see how close Christ the King has come to us by his death. And Jesus promises him something that changes our world. "Today, you will be with me in paradise." He's shouting to the whole world that God does not forget us. In fact, Pope Benedict XVI used to say that another name for Jesus is God remembers. Christ does not forget us, any of us. He calls us to himself at every moment in our lives. He calls us in our moments of suffering. He calls us in our moments of joy. And today's solemnity reminds us of all that. Christ the King is truly the Lord of the world, since all things were created through him and for him. When we were lost in sin and self-alienation, our King died for us so that we could live forever with him. Christ the King remembers us. And that gives us the confident joy of the redeemed. In his novel, set during World War II, All the Light We Cannot See, Anthony Doerr offers a compelling insight about remembering. You see, there's a beautiful scene where the protagonist, which is a blind French girl named Marie-Laure, is hiding from a Nazi officer who's trying to steal a diamond from her. She's feeling her way through the streets of St. Malo, and she knows that she's running out of time. She manages to escape by locking a gate behind her, and her pursuer eventually leaves, but she's completely lost and terrified. Meanwhile, her uncle is frantically searching the streets of St. Malo for her. He finds her, and when she hears his voice, she says, "You came." My friends, on the cross, we see that Christ the King remembers and that he came. And he repeats those same words to us that he spoke to that criminal, that if we want, we too will be with him in paradise. Jesus' death on the cross isn't something trapped in the past. It's the greatest act of love in history. And God makes it present for us every day. Every Mass makes present Christ's death on the cross. Every Mass is a living memory of Christ's tremendous love for us. As St. Paul put it, he loved me and gave himself for me. So, my friends, whenever we come to Mass, we're actually standing at Calvary. All the power of Christ is here. All his love and all his suffering for our salvation are present in real time. Christ remembers us. And in this Mass, we remember him. As I said earlier, Advent is just around the corner. So here's a challenge that I hope many of you will undertake. In addition to Sunday Mass, come to daily Mass once a week during the Advent season. Christ wants us to come. He wants to pour out his strength and his healing into our hearts.